Hello everyone, my name is Matt. Welcome to the kickoff meeting for the Synergy project. Thanks for being on time, and hopefully you guys came prepared um, after reading the email that I sent you yesterday. In this kickoff meeting, I'll be covering topics like an overview of this project, what's in scope and what's out of scope of this phase, the structure of the project team, as well as the schedule that we'll be following for the phase one. Without further ado, let me start by introduce you to some background of this project. As you all know, Commerce CX, a human resource department, is currently using a bunch of individual applications, commercial services to do various tasks. For example, for our timesheets, you guys are being asked to fill out them in Harvest. Harvest is a paid service that costs around $50 per person per month. Also, the recruitment side is handled by Jazz HR, which also is a paid service. So the request coming from the human resource department is that they want to be able to have a solution that has all of these functionalities that they're using on a daily basis and can be accessed from a single portal. This solution will be built using Salesforce and Salesforce Lightning components, since that is where our specialty lies, and we'll be leveraging as much out-of-box solution as possible throughout this project. The first phase of this project is defined to be having a minimum viable product, whereas in the future releases, we could be adding additional features in order to productize this solution. With that being said, we will be only considering the business model within Commerce CX in terms of business processes. Our project team has 12 members, which I'll be covering in details in just a few minutes. And this project will last roughly 13 weeks with a kickoff as today and the final demo to our business on July 8th. So what's in scope of this project? As we've covered before, this project is going to be covering multiple tasks that human resources are using on a daily basis. Such tasks including the interview recruitment module, the timesheet module, expenses module, and we will also be creating new applications which they currently don't have for onboarding and offboarding process, as well as conflict resolutions / support management. These are the ticketing solutions that are going to be used for every employee in the company. We'll also be designing and building dashboard and reports component for applicable applications such as the recruitment side, the timesheet, expenses, and so on. We'll also be create an application to conduct surveys and polls so that as an everyday employee, say if you want to go out and have lunch, you can just simply send out a survey to the entire company saying who wants to join me, for example. So what's out of scope for this project, for this phase at least, is any automation work. For example, in the expense module, in the future, we might want to be able to have the employee to scan the receipt, and automatically that receipt will be filled in as a expense summary. But in this phase, we will not be considering any of that. And any processes and design considerations that are outside of the Commerce CX business model, as I have explained before. In terms of project team, I will be your project manager, and my responsibility are planning all the meetings, monitoring the progress, communication both to the management, the stakeholders, as well as to the entire project team. I will also handle changes requests coming from business and put them into the planning. We have two leads in this project, Venki and Venkat. Venki will be leading the development, whereas Venkat will oversee the architecture of this project. We have two business analysts, Jonas and Deepak. These two people will be handling the responsibility such as documenting requirements from the business, create user stories, create design documentations, and conduct functional testing once the development is done by the developers. We have two developers, Ramesh and Tanya. They will be creating low-level technical design as well as the coding, doing the actual coding and conduct unit testing. We have 5 techno-functional resources, Eric, Sarala, Sushmitha, Nandini, and Brian. These 5 people will act as kind of a combination of BAs and developers with the help from the business analysts and developers. In order for us to successfully finish this project, I would like to have some team rules before we kick up this project. So first of all, be collaborative. This is a collaborative effort, and even though we have different modules, I'd like to have everybody to focus on the one goal. And all communications must be transparent, which starts from me. I will be publishing all the notes and the recordings of the meetings onto the SharePoint, which I will mention later. Be respectful of each other during the meetings. If you have a disagreement with somebody, challenge their ideas, not the person. Always come to the meetings on time and prepared. You guys did a great job today. Just continue on that effort. Documentation is extremely important because this is an internal bench project. So which means at some point we might have resources being pulled into a client project and have new resources come in. So documentation would help them to transfer their work easily. Once you commit to a timeline or a deadline, follow it. It's fine to tell me that you're not able to commit to that, but once you commit it, please follow that. And for all resources, I know you guys have other priority as well and other works, but with this project, I'm expecting you to put around 3 to 4 hours on a daily basis. If you have anything else, please email me after this meeting. I'll be adding those into this slide. Now let's talk about the methodology. You guys are very familiar with the methodology we use in Commerce CX. With this project, we'll be not doing anything on the marketing research side. We'll directly come into the blueprinting, which starts with business requirement gathering. Once that's done, we'll move into functional design and create functional specs. These are all handled by the business analyst as well as the techno-functional resources. Venkat will define architecture based on the functional design and the specs. And then the developers will start create data models and high-level technical designs, which has to be approved by our developer lead, Venki. Once we go into the actual sprints, we will do design, build, and test cycle. The design will be low-level design of each component, and build will be developing that code and unit testing. The business analyst will handle the integration testing, and the developer lead will be doing the UAT. As you can see from this slide, this is the schedule. We start on April 15th. and each task I have already marked with a gray bar. Feel free to take a look at the end of this meeting. Here are some next steps. As I have mentioned before, all the requirements related documentations needs to be published onto our SharePoint. The SharePoint folder, I have already created the SharePoint folder, and you can find the link here. From the schedule in the previous slide, the business requirements and the functional design needs to be completed by the end of this week, which means all the business analysts and techno-functional resources needs to start gathering requirements from the business and create functional specs. The requirement document needs to be signed off by the end of Friday. Please keep in mind that this is signed off, not complete, which means you need to get that to me or get that to our business lead by the end of Friday. If you have any questions regarding this kickoff, please email them to me after this meeting. And thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.